Psalm 37 is another one, if you want to turn there, one of my favorite Psalms, because it literally talks about how to approach knowing God's will for your life. If you go to Psalm 37, and we're going to walk through it here, you're going to see that there's 10 keys that God gives in Psalm 37. He says, trust in the Lord, in verse 3, and do good. Dwell in the Lord, in the land, and feed on his righteousness. Delight yourself also in the Lord, and he'll give you desires of your heart. You see these action verbs, right? He's literally saying, trust me, dwell with me, tabernacle, feed on me, on who I am, delight yourself in me. When we spend no time doing this, we can't possibly know who he is, right? So what's interesting, when people ask me, well, should I do this or that? What's God's will? I say, do whatever you want. What's the big deal? As long as it doesn't violate his holiness and who he is, who cares? They said, but Ed, this is a big deal if I take that job. Matter of fact, we just had a young Paradigm couple. We met 4 or 5 times. Caleb, we met 4 or 5 times and moving to Arizona, right? He's going, oh, should I really do that? You know, I really want to move to Arizona. And I said, well, why are you even interested? He goes, oh, my brother lives down there. The weather's awesome. I'm kind of sick of Missouri. We're young. We don't have any kids yet. I'm going, you're actually giving me the reasons why you want to go. This is a rhetorical question. You've already decided, right? And they're like, well, kind of. So what do you think the reason was that they didn't want to go?
Afraid to go against God's will.
They're afraid. And one of the reasons was they were very, very tied in the paradigm. They had a lot going on, a lot of leadership, right? They felt guilty. If I leave my leadership role at Paradigm, am I breaking God's will? Okay. One of my favorite people, Winston Churchill, had a great quote. The graveyards are full of indispensable people. Right? I said, Caleb, do you really think God's will for your life is to stick at Paradigm and lead that, and that's what you're supposed to do? And he goes, I think so. And I said, well, how about this? Love your wife, serve your wife, be as holy, follow him, love Jesus Christ, and then guess what Psalm 37 says? Do whatever you want. When it says to give you the desires of your heart, are you desiring to go to Arizona? Does it violate anything on the character of who God is? I said, dude, I'll tell you this much. While you're young with no kids, you ought to go for it, man. This is so much fun. Just go have a good time. Just go try all this stuff. Why not? Who cares? What happens if it doesn't work out? Come back. What's the big deal? Now, if you're saying something like, you know, I really want a better house, but I need $10,000 more for a down payment. I wonder if it's okay if on the internet I try to steal money from someone's account. Is that God's will for? I mean, those are right. We know that's silly. But this kind of thing, God is literally telling you, examine your relationship with him. Do you trust him? Do you spend time with him? Do you literally get excited and feed on him and who he is? And God says, then do what you want. Somehow we think if we fail, like we've had people who've gone to be a missionary, after a year they've come back. What do you think their first thought was? I failed. Why? God had you for a year. What do you think you failed for? So what? You go there, you're excited. It's not what God has for you. You find something else. It's called life. It's a journey. It's no big deal. We put these expectations on ourselves that are horrible. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him. This idea of commitment is consecration. It's where he is the one who makes decisions for your life, according to the standards of who he is, your value system. Can you imagine if you ran your house like China? You know, a girl gets to be 8 years old, 7 years old. They decide she's going to be a gymnast. She gets to be 12. She goes, no, I want to be an accountant. No, you're a gymnast till we're done with you, right? The country can make their decisions on who you are. There's no dignity. Imagine if you ran your household like that with your kids, right? Again, it's who you can be. We have a vision for our kids, but not that way. Neither does God. He says, rest in the Lord. That word Hebrew in the Old Testament is faith. It's trusting him again. Wait patiently for him. Don't fret because of him who prospers in his way, who brings wicked schemes to pass. You ever do that? Like right now in our culture, you look at what's going on in our country, you look at what some people are doing, you look at situations with friends you know at work, and you're going, how's he getting away with that? You get all uptight and everything. God's like, relax. I got this, you know? Trust me. And he says, whatever you do, don't get angry, unrighteous anger. Don't get wrathful. It will only cause you harm. Here God is telling us, it's beautiful, how to find his will. It's very active. In Isaiah, I encourage you to read chapter 30. It's really interesting. It's talking about God through Isaiah as a prophet is going to bring the Assyrians in and he's going to take the northern kingdom captive. Then he's got these pockets of time, and this is one of them in chapter 30, where he talks about the graciousness of God and how he's going to bring and restore them back to him. And he says, your ears will hear a word behind you saying, this is the way, walk in it. Whenever you turn to the right or when you turn to the left. You guys ever have those situations happen to you? Where you can hear God's voice? Where there's something you're doing and suddenly you feel this conviction, not that it's wrong or right, but a conviction that this is what you should do? This is what it's talking about here, is the Lord who follows behind you gives you that prompting about what you should do.